Okay, there's been a lot of discussion in the martial arts community around the time of this video, but it's something that's actually a topic that comes up periodically about how to keep the wrong people from learning the martial arts. As we all know, none of us are God, and we can't really have complete control over what everyone does. There's nothing you can really do to absolutely 100% guarantee that there are no people who are going to learn how to use martial arts who will not abuse it ever, ever. But there are some things that we can do to minimize the likelihood that someone will abuse it. I'm going to go through some tricks that I use, and I'm going to go through suggestions I've gotten from someone I know that's a psychologist. And if I don't forget, I'm going to wrap up with what one of my instructors told me whose father was a psychologist. Well, let me start with my own tricks. Forms, kata, pumse, hyung, tools, patterns. Whatever you want to call them. You make your students do them. If they're a part of your system and they're required for black belt, I have noticed that people who just want to brawl and who in my estimation, could be candidates for abusing the martial arts, they don't want to do them. And they will not stay with you. They will leave. They might not even enroll. When I tell some people, do I got to do forms, though, to train with you? Them forms? Yes, you got to do them forms. And then they don't want to do it. Because they just want to get right to the how do I hurt somebody stuff. Now, I know that that does not always work. Because I have hearsay. It would be, I guess you'd call it anecdotal evidence. Okay? Of people who come from forms-based schools, but they're still hoodlums. Still go out and get into fights. So that may not 100% get rid of people that are psychopathic, but I think it does help. It helps to keep it down. Another thing is what you put out yourself. I've told students that I don't ever want to see you on World Star Hip Hop. I better not ever see you on YouTube in stupid street fights. If somebody happens to record you while you're actually legitimately defending yourself, that's one thing. Stupid street fights, no. And you know what I'm talking about. Any parents watching this, if you don't know what I'm talking about, ask your children. There are kids taking their cell phones, videotaping any type of fight, uploading it, putting it on YouTube and on various websites. I tell people, I better not catch you on there or you're cut off. Another thing that, well, let me segue. I'm going to segue into what the psychologist that I talked to said. In a formal interview, the psychologist recommends that you do not train people that you believe are sociopaths or psychopaths. What is a sociopath? What is a psychopath? What is a person that may have narcissistic or criminal tendencies? I know that those aren't all the same thing, but I'm grouping them all together, so I apologize for people who are actually schooled in psychology. But they're similar enough, in my opinion, for this topic. If you don't know what those things are, go look them up on YouTube. Not on YouTube. Well, you can look them up on YouTube and you can Google them. Go look them up. But the psychologist told me that one of the problems with that idea, that approach, is that sociopaths can be charming and manipulative, which means they can deceive you, which means that if you don't know that they're deceiving you, because it is deception, it means that you don't know what's happening, they can trick you and you won't know that this type of person is there to just use martial arts to abuse people until it's too late. But if they're displaying some of the traits of a sociopath, you may be able to just not train that person or to keep an eye on them. And as soon as you see them starting to cross the line and go too far, you can ask them to leave. That's about the best you can do. Now, what a former, well, I shouldn't say former instructor, because I still consider him to be one of my teachers, told me, he's just not actively teaching right now. But what he told me, and the long and short of it, is that he doesn't think that people that are psychopaths have the wherewithal to go all the way through a martial arts system to the black belt level because they cannot delay gratification. It's too much for them. I guess that kind of goes along with the people who don't want to learn forms. Because this guy was talking about from judo, and I'm thinking about taekwondo also, is that they don't want to learn. They can't. If it's not something they see a direct benefit from, they don't want to do it. They have no concept of delayed gratification. I guess that would be good to help weed out people that are like, just make decisions based on just emotion and impulse. They wouldn't have what it takes emotionally to wait long enough to get a black belt in any system. Now, for a more metaphysical or spiritual approach, is to how to keep the wrong types out of martial arts would be this. You reap what you sow. Like attracts like. Be careful of the vibe that you're putting out. The Gracies in their video called it the temperature of the water in a goldfish bowl or something of that nature. Which means that if you don't want to have the wrong type of people in the martial arts, you can't be the wrong type of person. You have to watch what you project. If you want positive people to be in the martial arts,